Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Fanny Menardi. Welcome for this new episode of the United series, episode 15 today, a special UN Charter of the United Nations. And we're going to talk about my recruiting process to the United Nations. I've been reading a lot of articles, the UN Charter, the strategic plan of action of the United Nations from 2019 to 2013. It's also, how do they call it, the summary of what they've been doing this year. The ninth global forum that took place in Marrakesh, I think last year. Comment a little bit on a few remarks that I've seen in their website, as well as the social media, the news, the current events, trying as well as always to connect everybody together, introduce you to some books, a series of books from Natalie Chintanavich that I like, so stay till the end because these are super interesting. And yes, so yesterday on my Instagram, I was posting, I like to play Rubik's Cube on my Instagram. This is how I discovered really the power of alchemy when I was doing the paintings and became an artist and started posting on Instagram and starting realizing that even the painting themselves were super powerful, super energetic, and activated codes within me and events in my life, synchronicities. Really, like when I started painting the 11/11 or posting about it, then a lot of synchronicities started happening in my life. Where was I reading that the karmic, there is always a reason why you're meeting people, why things happen in a journey, where learning to step back, okay, and look at the world from a higher standpoint. So then I started posting that, and I realized that even the way I would order and post the images, the graphic designs, and all of that had an alchemical power, like a vision board. We say that vision boards, the more you write it, the more you manifest. Yes, because something that you see every day that gets printed in your subconscious. This is why I have paintings all around my house that are super energetic, and that even the people who come here and don't know the meaning of the painting, just by standing in front of the painting, they're starting to say stuff like it opens a window, and that opens conversations, that open insights, because you're downloading, but it's also like a filter. It filters through you, so you can also express yourself in certain ways. So if you're looking at war things or violent stuff, that there is a chance that this is the way it's going to express. If you're looking at colorful, vibrant, energetic, sacred geometry, sacred wisdom, and all of this stuff, there is a chance that this is what's going to inspire you. And then I've been painting the Metatrons cube that is for network and connection. So yes, this works so much that even overwhelming for me, because I'm so connected to the network that even stuff that happened from the other side of the world, I feel it so much exponentially. And it's really hard because I have dreams, I have things that sometimes belong to me that are amplified because of other stuff that trigger me. Something that I saw online from the global summit yesterday that triggered me when this woman they made a beautiful conference. There was 4 men and then 5 men who made this beautiful conference about peace, and Miguel Angel Moratinos, the High Representative of the United Nations, was there too. They all made this beautiful insight about partnerships and building blocks of leadership, capacity development, philosophy, all of that. That was great. And then when came the time for the questions, that woman came talking about Armenia and what was happening in the conflicts, why they were destroying their cultural buildings there in Azerbaijan. And then she got destroyed by every single person in this. Estran, please. I'm talking right now. she got destroyed by every single person. See, I'm doing the same thing. I'm censoring my child as well, but he has this tendency of being super quiet, and as soon as I'm on the phone or I start talking, this is when he decides, he wants to join. So anyways, she got destroyed by every single person in the room, and that it's not the right time to talk about this. No, Esteban, you want to say hi? You want to participate? No. Want to say hi? Yeah. Hey, okay, then go to your room, please. I need to focus, please. And Peanut as well. Okay. See, I'm doing the same thing. He's like, this is not the right time to do that. So of course you see something that triggers you because it reminds you of something that maybe you do or something that's been done to you, and it triggers all these emotions, right? But then if it's amplified by so many people, this is when it creates the conflict. Okay, so there is a difference when you're at home and you're trying to raise your child at 7 years old and give him manners, and when you're in an assembly where the point is to discuss peace and partnerships and intercultural collaborations, and she's just talking about that, and they're telling her it is not the right place just because it's making people uncomfortable. But if we only talk about things that make us comfortable, there's no progress. Okay, so I would like to say that with this alchemy, right, that I started posting on my Instagram, then I realized that I could do like my vision board and trying to manifest my reality, my network, by posting pictures, insights of what they're doing, and the way I would like it to manifest for me to include myself in their project as well. And so we actually can become a community like the Metatrons Cube, right? The links. So it started with my mentors, the spiritual communities, the scientists, because the study of the vibrations, the frequency of the flower of life, the sound, the power of the sound. This century, we are really going to start working with sound technology. This was the missing piece to what we didn't have for free energy, for anti-gravitational forces, and all of that. Esteban, guys, please, there is the whole house and I'm trying to focus, okay? The sound technology is really what we're going to be focusing on. So the science, and then of course technology, environment, it became political. So I heard in the beginning of 2023, Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, in his speech was talking about the nuclear weapons, that it's unbelievable that we're still using 13,000 nuclear weapons in the world. And then the President of the United States continued that, talking about building electric energy, the American road trip, making it electrical because we need to stop using the oil. So it became political, humanitarian, and then what are they doing with those weapons? Okay, and then it's linked to the economy. Why is the budget going to the war and building new weapons when many people are still looking for jobs here? And when you see you're trying to look for jobs and it's just so difficult to access, even though there is jobs, I see hundreds of job offers every day. But when you try to apply to it, it leads you, plus I'm not even interested in those jobs because I already know where I want to work. I'm with you guys today. But it leads to another side. You enter your email address. It's like a email scheme of things, and you can never get to it. It's just impossible. Make the recruiting process easy. You have people who are calling, who are motivated, who want to work. Why does it have to take weeks and resumes and letters? I don't like the phone. I'm very face-to-face person. I will literally prefer to drive somewhere, knock at the door and be like, hey, I'm here, let's talk. And sometimes I did that, and they're like, yeah, okay, no, just go to the website, send the resume, send a letter. And I'm like, but I'm here right now. Can we interview me? I'm here, So anyways, all this to say that then Russia, the conflict in Russia, what is it? So linked to my experience in Egypt, where my node was Siberia, so instantly I was connected to Russia because I've always felt like I've been there in another life, because I like to listen to Russian. I love the architectures that they have there. And I can feel like Vladimir Putin is always talking about betrayal. He's always talking about how the West, they're silencing culture and stuff like that. This is stuff that I have experienced myself while being here in America. You know, in France, we're not that religious. We were more open to everybody's belief. When here in America, let's be honest, there is one major religion, okay, which is Christianity, and then all the rest. But I really believe the new politicians, the new leaders, the new actors, mentors, and everybody, they are here to harmonize everything. There is a lot of work done on diversity. So let's start. I put this picture yesterday with the Antonio Gutierrez, who said I took the oath on the UN Charter when I started my role as a Secretary General, and then I put the symbolism of the hand right in the middle, and I put myself in Egypt in the sacred place in Abu Simbel, as I am reading it and taking an oath as well on it. So I'm taking it seriously. It's not just to play peacock on my Instagram. Really, I mean it. You can ask everybody in my network that I've tried to work with. It's never just, oh, I love you because you're so inspirational. Yes, there is that, because we need figures and role models that inspire us to become the best version of ourselves, but it is usually followed by an application and a full package and research and projects, workshop programs and partnerships that I've been sending to everybody. If there is a single person watching here that I've interacted with that hasn't received a whole bunch of value from my work and bringing to their own company, then write to me and we can work on it. Okay. So I take it seriously, what I've experienced, and when I see other people being victims of it, and then how it influences just my child. I see how I am. I have everything, but this uncertainty, this seeing the problems in the society makes me angry mother. I'm not there fully because you have this worry. So I have degrees, I have experience, I have a network that supports me. I can't even imagine how it is for people who, single moms who don't have child support, who don't have a home and are struggling. And I can't even imagine, these countries in Syria when they had this earthquake, and then they're refugees and they go to a country and people say, oh, these refugees, they're just economic holes, they're burdens for the society, and they leave their wives and their kids and stuff. Can you imagine what some people are saying? Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this makes total sense. And I see trolls on social media and I realize, yeah, no, this is needed, because there are still people who think like that. And when I see what's going on with the abortion, you think there are still people who prevent women from getting an abortion or choosing for their own health and the future of their family life and their kids' lives. You wonder what it's going to be when we decide to remove the guns. Okay, is there going to be riots everywhere in the streets, people shooting everywhere? Okay, so this is linked also how we arrange the information, maybe to reach some strategic goals. And I believe this is what's going on in Russia as well. Let's be honest, men like weapons, they like their guns, they like shooting stuff, they like blowing stuff up. And they're war games, that I took it very personally, I took very emotional. Like, I see news sometimes and I get really mad. Like, I would break stuff in my house because I'm so mad. That's how much it gets to me. So I was like, okay, calm down, take a step back. This is a game. They're going, they're planning strategies to use their weapons, and they're talking about it on the news. The president of NATO, he was saying, Russia underestimated Ukraine and the resilience and the strengths, but we can underestimate Russia either. They're one of the powers of the world and stuff. So at NPS Monterey, they're studying, war games and stuff like that. So the only problem is when you have civilians in the middle and families that are killed, that didn't agree to that. Okay, the military, they sign up for it. Essentially, they own you, right? So you're part of the game. But when it comes to hurting families and buildings, you can do that to your country or to your neighbor's country. So right now, I really feel so in the UN Charter. I want to talk about it. There is a paragraph that says that you should not, if you're in alliance and you're a partner with a country of the UN Charter, you should not go and deliver tools and strategies or alliances with the enemy countries, right? And this is exactly what I did, because I feel like we're not enemies. We're one people. What if I was born in Russia? I would be your enemy? No, they're not our enemies. Okay, so I really feel that it was helpful to connect like that and establish a conversation on social media, because we could reach out to the politicians, but involve also the people through transparency. And when I talked about the fact that now our message is being given and they're able to listen, so we don't have to go rioting in the streets, we don't have to oppose the system, we can work with it. And this is what Vladimir Putin is doing right now. He said this morning, they finally stopped the opposition. Of course, there's some soldier who said, no, we're not going to go for the war. This is what I asked that they do. But he said, no, we stopped the riots. Okay, so they're not killing each other in the middle of the battalion. We restored unity within. So now this is our job, to restore the unity at the top, where the decision makers are negotiating before you send a soldier, play like it's a battlefield game. Okay. So yes, I freely shared my anti-gravity formula, so we can all start working on the Space Olympic Games, which is one of the goals also for this year, that counter terrorism through games. Okay, this was exactly the point of it, of creating the Space Olympics, so we can focus our technology into going to space that everybody's so passionate about, and start doing like Star Wars games with lasers instead of using missiles and killing people, having people in the middle. And you don't risk to have a spaceship falling on you, because it's lasers. We're not. It's like a laser tag, right? You're collecting points, and maybe, I don't know, we could be playing. I don't know, competitive businesses. Like, hey, you want a deal? Okay, we're gonna go. You want to deal with these engineering companies or whatever? Let's go play the game in space and have points. That's what I do with my son. When he wants his Nintendo, he would play from 7 a.m. in the morning until midnight if I don't restrain it. Okay, so I'm like, now you need to earn your Nintendo time. So one page of an activity book is 5 points. When you brush your teeth without me having to fight with you for 30 minutes, and you just do it by yourself, you get three points. When you pick up your papers instead of just throwing them on the floor like mommy's your maid to pick up after you, you get 3 points. When you get 100, you get an hour of Nintendo game. So you need to work and have it. So we can maybe do a reward system like that through games, or just to direct the military, or maybe missions. Or it can be missions. The winning teams of the Space Olympics, they get to go, they get to be the team that goes and work on humanitarian, the exciting project. You get to work on, you go to Fiji's to go work on humanitarian projects and boat operations with the Navy and stuff like that. These are the cool stuff. When my ex-husband, he was at NRPDC in Virginia, they were doing small boat operations overseas, in Africa, in South America, to deliver boats and techniques and strategies also that go with it. This was the best comment of his career. This, when we met, he got to travel everywhere in the world. So having like this reward system through those Olympic Games, maybe that make you more involved also in your work, make the work more interesting, all this kind of stuff. And then I wanted to read also this extract when they say the General Assembly so it was funny because this was after yesterday. I was really upset with this video from the Global Summit of this woman who was courageous. You could see she was courageous to speak in front of all of these men and talk about why is our country being attacked every day, why are our monuments, cultural monuments destroyed in your country, and they say it's not the place to do that. So then I read the charter, Article 11, page 11, paragraph 2, which is also 1-1. Okay, so 11, like really an alignment. It's the General Assembly may discuss any question relating to the maintenance of international peace and security brought before it by any member of the United Nations or by the Security Council or by a state which is not a member of the United Nations in accordance with Article 35, paragraph 2, and except as provided in Article 12 may make recommendations with regard to any such questions to the state or states concerned or to the Security Council or to both. Any such question on which action is necessary shall be referred to the Security Council by the General Assembly either before or after discussion. So this is right now, okay? So I wanted to bring a little quote in French from this book, Devenir, from Nathalie Chintanavich. And this book is interesting. She's talking also about karmic trauma, suicidal people, or how to put this, family problems and stuff like that. Sometimes a child, you wonder sometimes why a child comes in a family that is completely, you know, they feel like, I don't feel like this is my family. No, not me. I'm not talking about me. Okay, not everybody, not everything I say concerns me, or I'm talking about someone I know. But I've heard before people say, I'm in my family, but I feel like I'm not. Like they're all completely different than me. And sometimes this child is brought to this family to bring the awakening, the awareness, or step up the level, or trigger, or confront, or highlight, or maybe shame or punish. I don't know, you know, triggers and stuff. And there is in the Tablets of Emerald, right, by Billy Carson, written by Todd, there is a passage that says, talks about generations. Say each generation, doesn't say exactly like that, but each generation has a message that will not be the same, otherwise there is no point. If you keep repeating the same stuff over and over for generation, you end up with the same speech as we have in Russia when they're still making revenge from the World War II right now. So every generation brings a new message that evolves from the generation before. Okay, so my mentors, all the ones who are in their 50s right now, Dean Graziosi, Billy Carson, Robert Grant, all the guys that I've been following, learning from, because, you know, men are more mature when they get a little bit older. There is not many that are mature enough in their 30s to talk about all these kind of topics, you know. But this generation in the 50s, maybe this is how the economy was when they got successful. It was all about grinding. You need to grind, you need to go through the lessons, you know, otherwise you can't be successful, or you're not going to appreciate your success. I saw a meme yesterday on Facebook. It was saying the most lame thing I've seen is like someone says, hey, your $2,000 that you worked hard with are going to be you're going to enjoy them so much more than if someone gave you $1 million for free. Really? No, you can give me $1 million tomorrow. That's fine. I'm cool with it. I'm still going to appreciate it. Okay. And then I get to decide if I'm going to work hard with it, or if I'm going to feed my family, buy my house, buy my mama house, and give a job to all of my friends, my single mom friends that are here struggling for years and that no one goes for them. What are you waiting for? Go for the person, you know? So anyways, that was their generation. And every time they were saying that, I was like, I cannot agree, because my mom raised me, but I feel like I raised myself. She was always working. I didn't have brothers and sisters. I traveled early on my own. I left the home early. I went to do my Hippocagne and my studies there in France when I was just right after my high school. And after that, I never went back home. I kept moving. I went to England, I went to Peru, I went to Bahrain, all of that. But it was never hard to get the job. I would get it right away, but I would, instead of wasting all of my energy and my patience and everything in looking for that job and getting that job, I would get the job right away, and then I would give all this energy to the job. Right now I feel like I'm exhausted. I've been all this energy trying to climb the ladder and apply to the jobs, and I feel the grudges because I feel like all this time I wasted time with my son because I was so stressed. If anybody had helped a little bit in the process financially or give me jobs, a part-time job just to help me keep going, I would not have stopped working or tried to push myself. This is an outdated way of thinking. Okay, my generations, at least from friends, we love to go out, we love to have a drink, we love to go on holidays. And if you know me, even when I go on holidays, I make movies, I make tutorials. When I went to Egypt, I made a movie, I made a whole painting and tutorial series and pictures. I'm working on a second movie now. Like, it's who you are. Okay, there's some people who were born, and of course you can change, and this is why we have mentors, and but I feel like, anyways, each generation evolves with their time, and I think that my generation, we need fun. We're in the social media, absorbed by the internet, which is great, but then in the street I rarely see my neighbors. I rarely get this sensation of walking and meeting people, going to the little stores like we have in France, the sensation experience, right, that disconnect us from each other. And then this is why we experience depression, solitude. Disconnection, I think, is really what people suffer from. So I have a little quote here I wanted to read. Okay, and the once again, the religion, sorry, I keep going, but actually you're going to understand when you read the quote. I believe the religions, the suffering that is associated to religion has a lot to do with this mindset. Because Jesus was crucified, because Jesus has to suffer, and we call it passion, the passion of the Christ, it's stuck in people's minds for 2,000 years that in order to be holy, in order to be deserving, you have to grind, you have to suffer. If people hurt you, that's part of the story. No, I can promise you that if you're super nice with me and you answer my emails and you respect me, I'm gonna be really nice. And I'm going to be really successful because I will have all the tools to thrive and produce more in my business and then benefit others. Because if you keep blocking the doors, now I'm so focused on myself. I see the great stuff that other people are doing. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but what about me? Why did life leave me out like that? So yeah, I kept elevating, I kept going higher. Now I'm so proud of my network. I love everybody, I love that I get to connect with the United Nations and to be really so involved with the White House and the teams, which, by the way, we'd love to see the communication team, do some, take part of the videos as well. And they're torturing our poor president. They make him go on a marathon every day and do his American tours and conferences. We need him strong, okay? Can we take good care of our president? He's amazing. He's doing an amazing job. You guys are taking all the energy out of him, seriously. But anyways, so this is so yeah, changing our perspective about what work should be, or how we should dress, or going through the appearances. Okay, what you look like doesn't mean, if you're a little crazy or if you're I don't know, insecure, it doesn't mean that you're not going to provide quality work. All that people need is a chance. Give anyone a chance, an opportunity, and the tools and what they need, and they will do anything for you. My director in Bahrain, he gave me a good paycheck. I mean, for what they could do, it's a non-profit, okay, so it wasn't woo, but when I asked for a raise, he did. He's even the one who said, "Hey, we're going to try to give you a fuel, alimony, or whatever we can do just to get your paycheck a little higher." When I needed to go to France to go back to get married during the summer holidays, I say, "Is it okay if I take a month in between and I come back in September?" Yes, it was really arranging. But when I was there, man, I was working from morning to the evening. I was giving everything, and we would never even see each other with Dino because people do something for you. You deliver. You want to give it back. You don't want to disappoint them. You want to make them proud. You want to leave your mark. And I was learning so much from him. So this is in French, okay, and it's about Mary, the three Marys. Okay? Il est essentiel à cette époque que les énergies masculines et féminines divines s'assemblent de manière équilibrée et unifiée. It's related to this post from yesterday where all the men cut down that woman speaking for her country. She was the spokesperson. Okay, so I really feel like we need more women in this position of leadership. Why? We don't see many women because they're at home with the kids. Right? But we can change that as well. Like, men are allowed to take care of the kids, Nous entendrons maintenant trois femmes, Madeleine, les trois maris, qui ensemble avec Yeshua ont incarné et exprimé cette union. Qu'on lève le voile du silence. Les voix de Madeleine, longtemps réprimées, s'élèvent. Au cœur du silence, elle vous parle. Écoutez bien, bien-aimés. Écoutez, bien-aimés. Écoutez, soyez. Les bénédictions des trois Maries. Myriam de Tiana, Marie de Béthanie, Mariam de Mont-Carmel. Ensemble et en triade, nous révélons ce qui fut tenu en suspens et caché durant des millénaires et nous l'accomplissons. Une compagnie de Madeleine nous accompagne. Elle aussi porte témoignage de la grand-mère et de l'activation de l'énergie féminine chez les hommes comme chez les femmes. Ensemble, nous dévoilons au grand jour ce qui a été enterré, caché et piétiné. Oui, nous élèverons nos voix en une voix unique, harmonieusement à l'unisson, et nous exuderons du centre de notre cœur collectif le parfum de l'ascension. Nos voix ne feront qu'une, la voix des Madeleines. Chacune de nous parle pour les autres. Notre désir commun est la guérison du cœur féminin et la floraison de ce monde. La guérison des déserts et des terres de désolation dans les âmes. Par conséquent, notre vision englobe les hommes et les femmes marchant ensemble comme des égaux. Dans cette vision, les familles, les communautés, les nations honorent les différences et les ressemblances, permettant à chacun d'exprimer son potentiel infini et l'y encourageant. Really good. This is exactly what is happening right now. And Madeleine, in French, we have this expression to say pleurer comme une Madeleine, to cry like a Madeleine. I don't know why, but it's really this energy of lamentation. Sometimes I'm like, oh, my wall is like the wall of lamentations, but because it really feels like if you're kind in this world, people will step on you, and it shouldn't be like that. If you're kind, you should be the door should open easily. They don't want to turn a kind person into a war machine, just banging at all the doors, destroying everybody until they get hurt. I don't know. Okay, so let's see some cool stuff that I wrote from. So human rights, equality, dignity, worth of every person, international law, and peace, the UN Charter. So the UN Charter was created after the World War II, right? When all the countries were at war, and they said that now we need something, an alliance from the world that ensures world peace. So this is number 15, Life on Land. Episode number 15. Global goal number 15 is Life on Land. If you want life on land, you need to stop bombing. You need to start doing clean energy. So they're doing that in Russia as well. They're doing the first electric train, okay, and gather all our resources also on providing humanitarian support. This is why I always say the military needs to become a humanitarian forces, not a warfare force. And I forgot I was on two. The global goals, yes. I don't know. I was like, oh, I must remember to say. But anyway, so after looking at all the strategic plan of action and all that, I noticed that the three main things that were the goals and that I feel are succeeding, that we all join mindsets and minds through that, was their media exposure and outreach. That was very important. So when you're tagging people online or you're sharing content, it creates doorways all over, okay, that people, they see the link, they click, and this is how you get connected to the information. So don't be shy to tag and reference, because this is how, even for artists, this is how you get exposure and you bring business to each other and outreach. And then the message they were saying, what was important to them is how many people were seeing the message, because once you see it, you integrate it. Even if you're barely paying attention, the message has still reached you. Youth and opportunities, focusing on the young people, because of course the young generations is what is going to create the future. Interfaith and intercultural dialogue, that's what we're doing right now through the social media. This is unbelievably efficient. And then these are three things that I believe I can bring, really thanks to my encyclopedia. You know that I wrote my encyclopedia about art and symbolism, like I was explaining at the beginning, how it derived to so many topics. And so they were saying about counterterrorism. Where was it? Counterterrorism, yes. So the High Representative, Mr. Miguel Moratinos, said, despite our advances in our global efforts in the fight against terrorism, the threat has persisted and diversified. Our fight against terrorism is far from being over. So, and this was in June 2021. This is exactly the year after, a little bit after the stories that I talk about in my encyclopedia happened. I'm not going to talk about it right now. So when you look at the news, or when you look at every day, if you have never been really concerned, you think it doesn't concern you, it doesn't really exist, or these are just news, but these are fake news, but it exists, it's real. Say hi, baby. Remember what I said? Hey. Remember what I said? If you're coming on the video, I want you to say something nice. Say hi. Babe, I told him, if you're coming on the video, that's fine, but I don't want you to come and start screaming like a monkey. You just come. You were not. That's true. You held that one. I want to say hi, introduce yourself, say hi, you're my mommy. But it exists. I saw it firsthand, so I believe it. And I believe that through my workshop programs about symbolism and art and stuff like that, no, I don't think so, babe. Just see if you find it or not. Hey, language. I believe that this is the most incredible counter-terrorism tool and document you can have, because it's about all the symbols. So now with the internet, you can code any message, you can tell anything in front of people's face, and only 10% will understand really every single level of the message, right? There is always several levels in a message, but once you learn to study the art of symbols, you start being able to recognize the things that you see highlight, like when you're reading a text or you're looking at a wall and you see a detail that's highlighted, that's coming out. Okay, so when you read a text and you have keywords that highlight to your eyes, when you've been trained and recognizes those symbols, interpreting words, you know the word is just a shell. Okay, the word is just a shell. What's inside, you can have many meanings that depend on your experiences, or that will depend on your education, experiences, context, culture, location, anything. All this is the signifiers that can be in the signified, that can be in the signifier, the shell of the word. Okay, so I'm going to show you those. Fire letter, for example, interesting name, the fire letter. In French, les lettres de feu, the creative fire. Okay, let's set the world on fire. Does it mean we're terrorists and we're going to actually literally put fire everywhere? No. Let's set the world on fire. Let's put our creative fire, our spark, our soul into a project, create alliances that are strong and meaningful. Okay? You decide to interpret the words the way you want it. And misunderstandings, cultural misunderstandings, for example, just the hand. Okay, I was saying the hand, in America, you raise your right hand, it's taking the oath. In Egypt, when they raise their right hand, it means refusal. Okay, a marriage proposal in Egypt, it was the woman who would propose to the man, and if he would, with offering papyrus, and if the man would accept, he would raise his left hand. If he would refuse, he would raise his right hand. Okay, so little things like that's just one example I take in the book. But I'm also talking about the social distances, like Edward Tittle. So to finish with Egypt, someone who's going to write is in America, they're going to raise his right hand, like, oh, I'm sworn to you. In Egypt, they're going to be like, oh, they're refusing, or what does that mean? Little confusions like that. Or Edward Tittle, that wrote The Hidden Dimension, he made this story about proxemics and the social distances. So, for example, in religion, as such, faith, because we all need something to rely on, to believe in, okay, something that pushes forward to believe that life is magical and is a miracle. Otherwise, what is the point of it all? If you're a little bit spiritual or a little bit of a dreamer, all of that. What's the social distances, right? So if you believe that you're, like in Asia, if you believe that you are connected with everything, your soul is giant, your soul, you and this flower and the air, we are one energy, I'm connected to everything. Okay, it's called the ma in Japan. The ma, it's like your energy, your soul, it's everything. So therefore it's everywhere. So therefore, when you're in my house, in my space, this is already my soul, this is already my intimate zone, my personal zone. You're in my personal space. So this is why in Asia they have bigger social distances, right? They salute like that, or from a distance. They're not very tactile like this. They're very respectful or very soft in their gesture, right? Because you don't want to be invasive to the soul. But in a country like the Muslim countries, for example, or India, where they believe that the God is external to them, but their soul is deep within, right? In their heart, the God is connected to their heart, but it's also external to them. There is a gap, there is a distance. Okay, so if you want to reach someone's soul or communicating, it's like, for example, if I'm talking and I have something in front of my house, of my mouth, it's gonna be covered. There's gonna be like a veil, so you need to get closer to hear it. Okay, so this is where the Arabs, all their sensation experience is more developed. They touch, they're more tactile, they speak louder, they have perfumes, spices, strong colors. All this is related to your perception of the soul. That is literally where everything comes from. Where do you situate yourself from your soul? Okay, so if you put an Asian and an Arab in the same room and they have to greet each other, and the Arab, they're like, oh hi, how are you? We're in France, we're open to everything, but maybe for someone it can be, oh, they were so aggressive, when actually the other one was trying to be super welcoming and super friendly. But someone is going to take, oh, these people are really aggressive. And culturally it can create, for example, I don't like Italians, right? In France, I don't like Italians. They speak loud, blah, 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 blah. They always yelling, they blah, 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 blah. They think they own the place every time they go somewhere. Like, they've never done anything to me. Like, those Italians, they didn't do anything to me, but I just don't like Italians, So this is little cultural shocks that you have from regions, but I'm saying it in a funny way. But in history, then that creates generational and cultural conflicts and stuff. So it's important to learn all this little information, so when you're facing to another culture, so for example, that woman you see yesterday who spoke, like, for me, the way they talked back to her, the minister from Azerbaijan, and he was like, you see, in your speech, I didn't see any language of peace. That was a narcissist. I'm sorry, that's not cultural. That's a narcissist. He turned everything he said, and she didn't say, and he said, you see, this is why the conflicts has been lasting for so long, because you guys are not talking about peace. She didn't say a single word of hate or anything. It was just a question. But anyways, we are supposed to take all our guests, treat them with high respect, but there is no above and there is no below. You need to treat everybody with the same respect, even the people that are in the audience, because like as an artist, I can tell you, if you don't have an audience, if you don't have eyes, the art doesn't mean anything. Just like I say it all the time, you can be the best president of the United States and work every day in trying to unify the people and providing internet for free for everybody, like something revolutionary and stuff. If the people, they're not receptive, if the people, they're constantly criticizing and they're not making the effort at their own level to bring dynamism in the economy and stuff like that, nothing is going to change, because they're giving you pathways, right? But you have to get in the pathways to make a change, to make a difference. So when I saw that, the terrorism, I was like, guys, why aren't you calling me? We're wasting time right now. Like, if you know all the potential that there is in this encyclopedia, that we can train the military with, that we can go to schools. I would love to go to schools with the High Representative, go be his spokesperson, or assist in anything, go to schools and talk about, hey, this is the history of your country, but this is also your neighbors, and this is why is that. So when they grow up, this is the whole goal of the United Nations, that within one generation, you can solve every conflict in the world. Any other? Amina G. Mohammed, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, that said, education is freedom. It allows you to go to places where you would not otherwise go. It allows you to imagine your future. And this is so true. And in my encyclopedia, you have everything, all the resources that redirect you to people who can help you build your future in every area that you want. I don't know if it's still like that, but in school, you have to choose between literature and science. Okay, you're a scientist or you're a hippie. That's it. But if you decide to go science, well, you can get this book and you have all the rest that you're not learning in school. All the rest is in there, and a catalog of all the other programs that you can follow from the Resonance Science Foundation and stuff. I know I repeat a lot, but I'm also adding from what I've seen recently, like this reunion that there was from the youth and counterterrorism through sports, when this football player Isabella, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce the her last name, but she was saying that sports in her country, in Brazil or in Colombia, was always an opportunity for violence in the audience. People would fight and there would be shootings and stuff. And so by their examples, they were trying to promote, the peace during the games and the solidarity and these talks. And maybe what would be cool also would be, for example, to have in the stadiums, to have documentaries on the screens and videos while people are waiting or during the halftime, instead of having a bunch of commercials for Coca-Cola and chips and crabs that are full of sugar. Of course, we still want the Terramana tequila, right? But during the commercials, to have cultural images about the two countries. For example, you're playing, Qatar against Argentina, while you're seeing a video about schools in Argentina and kids and little figures and history. Just images, like they do in documentaries. And then a little minute after about Qatar. Okay, so you actually get to learn from the other country, traditional clothes, traditional foods, just pictures, images. People that are here, they're not paying attention, they're talking, but it's still there, they're watching, just like that, what they're doing with advertisement. Instead of advertising Coca-Cola and things that actually only benefits the pharmaceutical industry, will benefit the society as one and as progress and evolution. This is what I do with the paintings. I tell people all the time, I'm putting in all of my video, you have paintings in the background, because I'm not maybe talking about it, but you're still exposed to it. And they do that with symbols, they do that. Subliminal messages are everywhere, in politics, in marketing, graphic designs, communication. This is the base of it, the subliminal. Why? I have a whole mastermind about it, because just like the sigils, like what they explained in the book, the fundamental book of sigil magic, sigils are not meant to be explained. So most of the symbols that you saw at the time that you don't know what they mean, it's okay, because they put a certain energy, they have a meaning. But if we give you the explanation, you're going to put the filter of your opinion, education, cultural circumstances and everything. You're going to put the filter of your judgment to the symbol, and so therefore kind of a shield, right? It's not going to be integrated. It's as if I'm doing a shot, right? But I'm just spraying it on the skin, but it's not going inside of the skin. So if you're just seeing the sigil, you're looking at it, you don't know what it is, so your brain can't interfere. You're just directly absorbing it. So it acts at the consciousness level, at the soul level, passively, right? So you're passively absorbing information. That's why it's so important to choose what you're exposed to. This is what the Nazis did with the swastika, right? That it was, at first, it was a Buddhist symbol that was respected and highly energetic, that people were referring to it with trust. And so they took this symbol and they turned it around or reversed it, or I don't know what they did, and they put this as the emblem of the Nazis. So then people had this historically, right, karmically, and in the community, the symbol had a good energy that people were referring to, and they absorbed it, and then they did all their publicity, their thing out of that, but they ruined it for history. Now, nobody would ever post this, even the swastika, even if it's the original, a symbol that I don't know if it had the same name or not, I don't remember. But yeah, so see, has been used for aeons, for as far as they started writing, right? Even that the spiral that I have right here, it's the symbol of Pachamama, it's the symbol of evolution. Okay, so all this book is all about that. So you see, I'm pretty sure just by listening to this, you see how important it is to educate about those for education. So they were saying, Méranges Rafieva, administration and program operations specialist, was saying that they were focusing on 5 priority areas: the education, the youth, the media, migration, and women as peace mediators. Really feel like it's really tough for women, mostly mothers, because you want to be there for your children, but at the same time you're giving your life, who you are, your time, your energy, your freedom, for your kids, and you're often left behind because people are like, oh, but she's fine, she's taking care of her kid. Oh, she's lucky she's got that for a kid. Oh, she's lucky he's paying for everything. Oh, I work, I provide for her. There is always, a reason to justify that women are giving up their life, for the child, but they still have ambitions, they still have a career, and they need resources to be able to provide the best for the kids. Being present is not enough. If you're present at home, but you can't afford to go do stuff there after you all day, like mommy, we're lucky here, we have the beach, we have nature, we have everything. We can go out, but in the summer it's hot, you can be outside all the day. Promoting a culture of peace and intercultural dialogue. So see, then they were talking about digital games for peace. So I like the fact that now the games have become more digital as well. Kind of, maybe I'm making a war on my social media sometimes, but when I meet people, I'm not arguing, I'm pretty peaceful, so maybe it's hate. Some people will see it as hate speech, and some people that are maybe stupid, they will take it as a green light to go and hurt each other. But it's also a catharsis, using the social media as a platform we can talk openly, and knowing that within we are together, we are partners, we are allies. Doesn't matter if one day it's the end of the whole world emotionally and we're making a tantrum and everything, the day after we're still family, just like a kid. We argue every day. He's still my son. I still love him more than anything, So having this, being able to step back, but I know, like my dad, for example, we would argue, but the guy would hold grudges. Like an argument with my dad, it's a year or 2 years without talking for each other. It's like a disagreement on the conversation, hang up, and no more news for 3 months. It's like, wow, it's really, you don't believe it until you actually have people like this in your life. Sometimes it takes a lot of abuse till you stop talking to people and you decide that you're more less expectations if you cut them off. But at least online we get to choose, right, who we're exposed to and exposing ourselves to. So promoting a culture of peace and intercultural dialogue. We firmly believe, yes, I'm sorry, you're allowed to. Intercultural dialogue doesn't mean that you want to talk with everybody, okay? You also need to protect yourself if things or people are toxic to you. Maybe the people, they're great, they're amazing, but the dynamic between the relationship is toxic to you, you feel like it's destroying you, it's destroying your life because of expectations. You love each other so much, but you just need to stop talking. So we firmly believe that peace should be embraced as a way of life. a continued process, not a one-time feel-good action. A culture of peace should be nurtured through strengthening mutual respect and protecting the dignity of all members of the society, regardless of their race, religion, belief, or gender. This is the High Representative that said that. What does peace and stability mean in the 21st century? That was interesting because Dean Graziosi, in his latest conference, he was asking a question to his guests. So what did it mean at the beginning and what does it mean to you now? So if I look at what my art meant for me at the beginning, it was an escape from my family, like literally. Now, at the beginning, it was a passion that I never had time to try because I was working and traveling. So you need tools, you need supplies, art, and space to paint. It's not just like, oh, from a day to a southern, I painted that. No, you need to buy canvases, you need to have the space, you need to have the tools, the paintbrushes. So for me, it was having the time to do something I never had time to do before, and paint and decorate my house, pretty much. That was a purely decorative and entertainment because I was bored. I was coming to the US and I was already studying for a job in 2014 already. I was already applying in 8 years, almost 9 years in the US. I have not found one job. Yeah, I worked at the gallery, at volunteering. Oh yeah, volunteering. I volunteered a lot. There's opportunities for volunteering. For free, there's work. But actual jobs, you see how rude you guys are in America? I never had a single even answer to hundreds of applications. So you get discouraged, guys. So that was, I was frustrated. I couldn't find a job, but I started painting. Then I was intrigued. I started doing more because I liked how I was feeling when I was painting, because I could be painting and I could be watching conferences at the same time. So I didn't feel like I was a lazy wife sitting on my couch watching conferences all day. I was watching conferences all day, but I was creating something and decorating the house. And then I started a collection that I had something to show. When my friends came here, I was showing my neighbor Stacy. I remember she came one day. I showed her my travel books. She was planning a trip to Thailand. I showed her my books for the trip to Thailand. I helped her do her itinerary and everything. Then she saw my painting. She's like, oh, that's awesome. I'm an interior designer. Could I buy a couple of paintings from you for this family and stuff? This is how it started. And then I was like, she was the first one who bought a painting from me. And I was like, what? Really? People want to buy this from me? Okay. And she bought it. I think the first painting, how much I sold it for her? $100, I think, or $200. I sold it. And then Daniel's brother came and saw the paintings. I'm like, oh man, I want to buy 2 paintings from you. And then she ordered one for a marriage gift that I made especially for that couple. I was like, okay, send me a picture of the couple. And I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to do this talisman, which is one of my most beautiful artwork that I did. But then it started activating and seeing the energy, the alchemy, everything. And then I told you at the very beginning of this video how it turned into something more political because of my own journey, because of being rejected so much, seeing so much injustice, seeing how hard it is to be a mom, and that I just can't stand it. It's physical. Like yesterday, I almost broke my computer after watching the video and see how this woman, what she was feeling. And you can see at the end of the video, when everybody gathered to talk and everything, she wasn't there. She left. Okay, and I was throwing stuff on the floor, and I was so mad. But why? But because it triggers stuff from my own experience. So I want to be involved into that and maybe be that annoying woman in men's meetings who's there to tell them, hey, this is how you have to treat a woman. Okay, just like when you're going on a date, gentlemen. I know it's easy nowadays with the dating apps and everything to find a girl like that or whatever, but women still like to have someone bring a flower or a bottle of wine or an effort or a text. I don't know, just like make someone feel desired or interested. So just like when you write partnership letters or application letters to everybody and they don't answer your emails, but then they post something on their page to say, hey, I saw you. It makes you feel heard. It's important to make people feel heard, because if it's always one way, then it stops. But the games online is great, but you decide how important people are for you. If people are a game for you in your life, or if you actually want to become a real part of their lives and build something that becomes real also. The games is a good start to, just like the workshop is a good start to meet people, but then you're going further. What are we actually implementing and building and manifesting for the next steps? Otherwise it just stays philosophy, which we need poems, we need philosophy. I'm an artist, I'm not going to say look, words like dialogue, tolerance, diversity, and respect mean little if not supported by a concrete, broad range of actions under an international umbrella of sincere cooperation from state and non-state actors. After all, peace, justice, and human fraternity that we all aspire for are what bind us together, as we are all part of one humanity despite our many diverse cultures. I couldn't agree more. For the Global Interfaith Summit, November 2021, by the High Representative of the United Nations. Right. So that was about counterterrorism, and then of course I talked about technology, curriculum transition. I really want to be involved with the Naval Postgraduate School to help them transition their curriculum. And like I said, don't forget that this is a game, okay? I know the military operations. I've been in it for 10 years. They are training with Russia. They are winking. Of course, no, there's no treason there. They both have interests, but how do we, it's easy to say, let's turn the page, let's forgive. Usually people who screw you over are the first ones to say, people will let you down, right? But you have to be stronger. You have to turn the page. You have to not let your grudges and your past dictate your life and focus on your future. Yeah, but if you hear everybody else around promoting this culture of letting people down, of individuality, and are they like promoting collaborations and partnerships, but not you? They're doing discriminations all the time. Oh, because not you, because my wife will be jealous, or because I don't know, or we're gonna be in competition because you offer everything for free. So if we promote you, people won't go and buy your stuff. But if you promote me, I'll promote you too. It's exponential. Have you seen the Celestine prophecy? Two people. Here, I have the. I don't want to waste the time actually looking. Right there. I found it just had it. Where is it? I want to eat. The Celestine prophecy is about this guy who goes to Peru and discovers what pretty much synchronicities are, and he's learning through synchronicities how nature talks to you. And I just saw it. Where'd it go? This book, where did it go? Here you go. See that image? From the Celestine Prophecy, the movie. Okay, you have two energies, and when people are exchanging energies, the energy grows, expands, amplifies. It's not like I give you my energy and I'm lacking energy. Your energy expands when you're giving energy, because the pleasure of giving to someone, making feel good, seeing that you help, doesn't, when someone writes to you and they're like, oh, you helped me understand something, whatever, don't you feel like empowered? You're like, oh, what I created is helpful for the world. So as you give, your energy expands. Or when I give a painting, then I'm like, yeah, my paintings are everywhere. There are so many cool people on my paintings. I gave a lot, but I feel expanded, and I expanded like this as well. Okay, then at some point it needs to return to you. Otherwise, all the vampires drain you, and then you're left with nothing. And it's so hard, if you feel like you're, anyway, not talking about that. Okay, so curriculum transition, intercultural mediation. Okay, so it's been an hour. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you found this interesting. We talked about Russia, how hopefully now it's our turn to have the leader remember that these are war games, and it's our role. They are leaders that make the decisions, in the how do you call the annual activity report. They were saying resolving conflicts is the role of the governments. Promoting peace is the role of the people. Okay, I don't just agree with that, because look, what the governments are doing right now, there's still war there. The Ukraine and Russia, they're still at war. So maybe it's the people also that can interfere in the conflict, right? Because they, once again, with social media, they can raise their voice, elevating, and this is what's been, it's elevating and reaching out to the decision maker, right? The presidents, essentially, of the countries that are now, all of our alliances are all promoting peace. Okay, Joe Biden and the NATO, they're all promoting peace. They're allying for peace. They're defending Ukraine. But when you hear Vladimir Putin, they're defending. He's like, oh yeah, they're attacking us. They wanted, but it's also the subliminal messages. Also, it's communication. They're also defending their friends, their allies, and all of that. But the best is to, like I said, it's hard to say, let's turn the page and forget all the crimes and all that was done. But if we can stay in our grudges, but we need to take action as well. Okay, it's like the people saying, oh, people would let you down, but they keep letting you down. They don't change their actions. So they're talking, but nothing is changing. They keep having the same behavior. So these are just empty words. And I mean, there is a strategy. I'm not getting into this. Let's talk about the fire letters. Okay, so the fire letters, this is interesting. I'm going to organize a workshop next week, because I applied to be at the market this Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. They haven't replied. But if I get to go to the market, this is when I find my guests, because I meet people and I tell them, hey, come to my workshop next week. It's at my house, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do that. So if I'm there this weekend, I'm going to organize a workshop next week about the fire letters, that are the first symbols and kind of ancient symbols I studied. That was created by Natalie Chintanavich, Tara Glane edition. It's only in French. That were supposed to be symbols that were engraved in the gates of the universe, believed by the Incas, but also engraved in your DNA. I've told you before that when I see lights coming out of a spaceship or a cloud, and I see rays of light, and I can have like that micro vision, and I see letters and symbols and quotes and stuff like in the Matrix, right? I see stuff like this sometimes. And I was in Mexico. If you want to hear about that, it's in my book, Parcours de reconnexion en territoire Maya, my book from Mexico. We were walking on the beach, and the sky was literally blue. There was nothing. Okay, we're walking. turn around, we're talking, blah, blah. All of a sudden, I keep walking, and there was this giant triangle cloud, like right over the beach where we are. And like, where did this come from? Like, that wasn't here before. Like, you don't have a massive cloud just appear like that. But anyways, whatever. A little bit later, I get on the water and I'm right underneath it, and I see these rays of light, even though the sun is on the other side. I see these rays of light coming out of it, and I see those letters, equations, symbols, numbers coming out of it. And this is after that I started painting. I started having those vivid dreams and encounters and all of that. So that was progressive. That was the first, not the first, because I had before in Peru and everything, but since I was in America, that was that. And they believe that those symbols are also engraved in your DNA. So by resonance, when you see them, when you see those, let's take this one. When you see those symbols, it resonates. It's just like we say, the flower of life is very energetic. Why? Because the flower of life is the symbols that you have within you. It's the mitosis, the creation process, the birth, when you have two cells that duplicate into 2 and 4 and blah, 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 and it expands into the flower of life. Okay, and the cells, you have these in your body. This is an internal process. This is scientific. I'm not making it up. Okay, this is the symbol of life, the flower of life. So when you're looking at the flower of life, it's like looking at yourself in a mirror at the macro level, what you have at the micro level. Okay, so if you're looking at yourself in the mirror in the morning and you're in your PJs and your hair is horrible and you don't have makeup and I don't know, you know, some days you feel like, I look horrible. It's not gonna make you feel very confident for the rest of the day. But if you make an effort to do your hair and dress nice and a little bit of makeup, and boom, you feel like your skin is a little more shiny today. Okay, I ate good yesterday. I had a juice from prepared plants and a shot of tequila. I don't know, I'm all about it. Anyways, you feel pretty, you feel more confident. Okay, so the way you look in your reflection, how you perceive yourself, or not just physically, but if you perceive yourself as, sometimes I look at my journey, I'm like, look how amazing I did. Look at my house. I finally decorated my house exactly like I wanted it. My son, he finally he's healthy. I got rid of all of his health problems. I got rid of all of my health problems. We're healthy. We have a beautiful house. we're still eating good food. I managed to have an amazing network. I'm applying to jobs that, you know, I feel like I'm right there. It's happening. It's got to manifest. I don't even have a plan B because there is no other way, you know. And then I feel empowered. And these people are so incredible. I found a tribe that I feel like we're resonating. We're mirrors to each other. We are one. So it makes me feel empowered and excited. And some days I'm wake up, I'm like, look at me, 10 years in this country, not even able to find a job, still broke, still don't have many friends, really like to call every day, or just like, you know, in France, I used to grow up in a village. So I would come home, I get out, I go knock on my neighbors, hey, what are you up to? Come on, let's go outside. Or when I'm going to see my friend in France, I just stop there, hey, go see my friends, I go for a drink, whatever. You just, social life, you know, makes you feel more included, more important. So these days I wake up, I'm like, I'm such a failure, and I created all this amazing program and nobody's buying it. There's people online, they communicate with me, but for them it's just a game. They don't really care. They're not really gonna hire me. And so there is a huge difference in my content when I wake up empowered and yes, I did this, I can do this, my future is gonna be great. Yeah, amazing. And the days I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm such a failure, like not even able to do whatever, get a business, or, you know, then these days that's horrible. I just want to disappear, I want to escape, okay, so it's important, the image you have of yourself and the things that you have in front of you that resonate with what you have inside you will either amplify it. Okay, so anyways, looking at something that is within, it creates a bridge. Okay, so it creates a bridge between you, and when you're looking at letters, a bridge between you and the gateways of the universe, where all the possibilities, all the light codes, all the manifestations, the timelines, and what pretty much what God is going to send to you on your way, that's gonna create a certain frequency for this gateway, this portal, this timeline, that like a telephone, right? This is what you're getting. Like you go to a website, you type the address, the code of the address, it's a matrix, it's a coding, and boom, you get that. Okay, so that's what these letters are. They connected to you. So when you're working with these oracles, for example, you look at the letter and it's going to connect you to a certain frequency. Okay, so let's pull one letter, and then I'm going to talk about the books. It's a little longer video today. Maybe it's tough for you to find a way to write a video for 2 hours, but that's how it is. I like to talk a lot. Okay, let's pull a card. One card. Okay. Ask yourself a question or think of something. What is coming to me today? What should I know for what's gonna happen? What's from the rest of my week? What am I doing? When? That's my question every day. Is this happening? Is what I'm doing having a meaning? Is it gonna manifest? Those are my main questions. Any questions you have? Okay, I'm pulling a card right now, and let's see what it's gonna say. Wow. Al. Okay, that's a card called Al, but it also reads AI almost. Right? When you're looking at it, it also read AI. And the colors, it's really one of these colors of one of the Space Force, one of the paintings I did recently. There are Space Force colors as well, but almost looks like an arc, either a fetus or an arc, like, you know, a bow and archery like that. And it also looks like introspection, like when you bring something back to yourself, so maybe collecting, I don't know, AI. And number 9, the completion of a cycle is number 9. Maybe bringing back, look at the shape, right? You can already interpret with looking at the shape of the letter. Maybe it's time that you're bringing back to you what you've worked for. This arrow, say it's like a bow. I always say you're stepping back. When you're launching an arrow, you pull it back, you feel like you have a step back, but when you let it, you're finally ready to go, you go so much faster. Maybe I didn't get all these jobs because at the end I'm going to get the job at the highest level that I've been working so hard for, where I get the most outreach possible and go so much faster in spreading this mindset than if I had done it right here in my house to 6 people or 8 people, right? I know all that. It's just hard when you're on the everyday and you see the bills coming and you can't pay, to, you know, to step out of this fear that's just absorbing you. You're exactly, it's even like that. You see how the shape of it is very meaningful, but the arrow is gone, and maybe it's time to bring back to you the fruits of your labors. At the same time, you see the rays are coming out. There is also this energy of externalizing, of giving. And AI, I've talked about it. The AI, let's be careful with AI. We can't rely on everything. We still need to be able to use our brain and read, use our own judgment, not let Google. Otherwise, we're going to let Google tell us everything we need to do. Where is the booklet? There's a booklet for the letters. Well, maybe I was not supposed to read the booklet. Oh yeah, I have it right here. So this is not the booklet, but I still have it. It's not the official booklet. This is a more advanced one, but let's see. Okay, Al est la lumière cristal in French. Okay, you gotta speak French. Et la lumière cristal qui transparaît pour purifier, unifier à l'intérieur de chaque être, chacune des parcelles de vie qui le composent. C'est une énergie de fraîcheur, de renouveau qui se dégage de sa force solaire et cristalline. Sa vibration est liée au cristal solaire et à la lumière stellaire. Aussi, lors de purification, durant les rituels incas, Al, accompagné de sa lumière cristalline, la puissance du feu solaire et des grandes invocations au cristal de feu. Wow! 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 Oh my God! And there's my name in it too! Deloris Cham to Al, Menalan Detra Manarus. This is the sacred call. Deloris, in French, in English it sounds like bubblegum. Deloris Cham to Al, Menalan Detra Manarus. So that is literally the spiritual description of the job I'm applying to. They say Al accompanies of their crystalline light the power of the solar fire and of the great invocation of the crystals of fire. Like the job I'm applying to is to accompany an assistant for the great leaders, right? They're here to spread the knowledge, the fire, right? To the people, the wisdom. So this is hopefully bringing like the freshness, the new, the renouveau, the renewal, the new generations, the voice of the new generation, of a new vision from the solar and crystalline force. That, you know, that I work with crystals a lot. You see, I don't know if you can see the energy coming out of coming from this Inca Chacana. This is the stone of Machu Picchu. Okay, this is one of the most sacred stones in the world with some silver. This is a true, I don't know, I think this is amazing. Oh, this conference is amazing. I don't know if anyone's going to watch, but I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm passionate about this stuff. So yeah, I hope you think it's interesting. And the fusion, same thing. So this one is a master symbol. Okay, it looks like it almost looks like a, you know, these little sand time things, and it's unifying. Okay, it's coming together. It's a spiral. So the growth, the evolution, and the fusion, of course, partnership and alliances, all of that. Okay, so let's talk about these books. There is so much. Guys, I can make a conference for a month straight, 12 hours. So, Natalie Chinanovich. What a witch. No, I'm kidding. What a character she is, this lady. She wrote this book, Devenir. I mean, she wrote parts of this book in 2010, okay, for 2011. And then she wrote this giant series of books that she says she's channeling these stories, like Délivrance par le Soleil. This is about the energy of the sun by the Inca. She's saying, even in that book, they said sound is going to be the new technology and the energy of the sun. So obviously we're moving towards solar energy, sound technology, and all of that. This is more very energetic, okay? There's no really cultural aspect of the sun or historical aspect. It's really more about light codes and the flow of energies, you know, how working with the sun and imagining rays of life at certain points, energetic points of your body can awaken certain organs, or I think I made a conference about it already, right? So this is interesting. Then she made what is this doing here? See, there's a bunch of incantations in there. Regeneration. I'm going to give you 2. 3. You want them all? We have harmonization, purification, regeneration, frequential elevation, fortification, liberation. Which one do you want? Let's pick 3. I'm going to do regeneration, because purification, we're good, right? We've done it. I think we're good. With the purification, we're really pure now. We're gonna do regeneration, frequential elevation, and liberation. Okay, to free people from wars and stuff like that. And I'm also gonna put harmonization. So purification. Vav, Olam, Let. Vav, Olam, Let. And they're all cards. They're all cards from the oracle. The regeneration. Ra, Terp, Maru, Gelbet. Liberation. Baru, Sate, Vav. Harmonization, Keta, Nu, and Gal. So let's take one. Which one you want? Let's do elevation. Let's do frequential elevation. Hol, Mem, Sate. Let me find the 3 cards, just so you can we can all visualize them. What was it? Hol, Mem, and Sate. This might as well. It's the first time I used those cards because we were in conflict together when I started doing my workshops about the fire letters, and I wrote to her to say, hey, I wanted to let you know I'm making an awesome mastermind. If you want, you know, I can quote you or reference anything from your work. And then, to my surprise, she responded that she didn't want to have anything to do with me and that she didn't want me to use her cards, that there was a copyright on all of these cards and that I was not allowed to use them, even talk about them. So I was like, why do you publish something if we're not allowed to use it, show it, talk about it? So I started digging into not my business, like I always do. And then she saw her videos and she was saying that she got out of the fire letters and the communities because she said that they were evil, you know. And I tell you that there is a lot of misconceptions in the spiritual communities that are more damaging than helpful. I tell you that too. So at some point I agree with her. And then she turned to the church and now she's all Jesus and religions as well. Okay, so first I was like, there's something. You can't write an entire collection of 15 books about a topic that you're so passionate and convinced about, and all of a sudden saying that it's complete garbage, or that it's just imagination. And then I realized that she was actually maybe trying to bring a little bit of curiosity by integrating a new religion or something else that she's interested in, and maybe the people who would be interested in her will go see what she's done before and open up to that, you know, because she still talks about archangels and stuff like that. So it's a little bit like what I'm doing with Russia right now, you know. I'm trying to go and see what they're doing, so maybe it can bring them back to us and we can unify all of that and start a partnership. It's not being undercover or anything. It's maybe unifying, you know, and realizing that you can be of both religions. You can be a Christian, but you can also believe in symbols and stuff that are cultural. This is it. That's what we're doing. Elevation. How? Même. Sate. Yeah. That's it. If you want to look at them longer, you can pause this video. So the books, so she wrote this trilogy. So she wrote this, The Alliance of Blood. It's about alliance between her and a vampire. Okay, and it's funny because nowadays also you know when you make an alliance, you say blood, and it's like people, we're the same blood, we're not the same family, but we're the same soul, we're the same blood. You can recognize your people, and most of the time when you look back in the family tree, you realize that maybe your ancestors were related. Then the Master of the Elements. Okay, so then she wrote that, La Magie du 13, the magic of number 13. So this is interesting. Well, 13 obviously is a very powerful number. Okay, 12 is the number of humanity. Okay, 12 is what we base on our calendar, the 12 months of the calendar, the 12 hours of the clock that repeats itself, the 12, what do we have? The 12 months, the 12 apostles around Jesus, Jesus being the 13, right? So the number 12 is the number of humanity, and the number 13 is the number of the divine. Okay, Jesus is the 13. The moon has 13 cycles in a year, not 12. Okay, it's every 4 weeks. So the humans have created this calendar on 12 months, but the moon, the natural realm created by the laws of God, the laws of nature, has 13 cycles. Okay, so we're always in between this humanity in quest for the faith and the divine, the hope, the miracle, the magic, I think. Okay, another interesting thing, she talks about many 13, the 13 portals, the 13 crystal skulls, the 13 crystal vibrations. There is a lot. It's a great book. But also, I learned recently that 13 is also one of the 4 karmic number. My friend on the phone, I was telling her, I was like, man, that's crazy. I feel like I'm in this loop here in Jacksonville. I got money from my family to help me. I sold my car. I sold some paintings. Whatever I do that succeeds to help me, I'm always back to this being broke, my work not being hired, my work not attracting clients, you know, and she's like, yeah, but you're a 13. You were born on a 13 and at 13 hours at 1 p.m. And it's like you're a strong number 13. It's a karmic number of work. And I was reading about it. The people who have a karmic number 13 are people who struggle with collecting rewards for their work. People who work hard and always have money problems, always have they are not recognized, or have to work like twice the efforts to get recognized or whatever. So pretty much life was struggle with finances and stuff. So I was like, great. And not other stuff as well. There is the geolocation. Maybe stuff don't work here because you're planting the seeds here, but you're gonna bloom somewhere else or whatever. Yeah, you don't want to determine your life by what Google or a number says. Okay, I still have the strong belief that everything, all this work I'm doing, maybe it's taking longer, but when it explodes, sorry for the vocabulary, okay, let's take it on the literal level, figurative, no, not the literal level, no, the figurative level, sorry, not literal, but when it blooms, it's gonna be divine, right? So okay, so this is the trilogy I want to talk to you about. If you've been watching till the end, you're the lucky one who's gonna get the secret. So she wrote this trilogy, The Secret of Esteban, Le Retour du Calice et Le Maître des Éléments, The Master of the Elements. Okay, so this is a story about a man called Esteban, and she's in the book like she's the character. Okay, but she says it's a novel. But I believe that this was given to me, these fire letters, in 2014, as soon as I got in America. And I always, before that, I always thought I was going to have a son called Esteban and a daughter. I already knew the names and of my children and stuff, so I know I'm not done. But when I got to the US in 2014, I was watching a conference in French, and the guy, as soon as he said, oh, the fire letters, as soon as he said that, it was like, what is that? I need to get this. You know, I look at it, boom, I ordered it right away. You know, sometimes you hear things, you're like, oh, yeah. Like runes, for example. I heard about runes for years before I got to it. I had other stuff to study before I got to study the runes. But I wasn't, you know, the Vikings energy. That's interesting. I'm interested about all the symbols, but like the fire letter, the Inca, that was really maybe my latest or most significant past life. I was an Inca, or like when I was in Machu Picchu, I already knew the place. I was there, but I closed my eyes. I had memories there. In Peru, it was my place. Like I was already in Cusco, you know, I would talk to people. They would like, we know each other. That would be crazy, actually. And so I got the fire letters, and then after all that, when she tried to sue me, because then I received letters from a lawyer that they were trying to sue me to give them the list of all the stuff where I mentioned the fire letters, and to completely remove everything. So I said no. I was like, I reference all of my work. I never steal the work of someone. Every time I mention even slightly something that someone else has published before me, I reference it, just because I believe in community. And I was like, no, I don't have to give you anything. I mentioned of my work. I wrote to her to tell her where the documents are. If you want to see it, you buy my stuff. Or if you want, partner together, I'll give you a commission on my millions of dollars of sales, right? So, and they said no. She didn't want money. She just wanted to have the work removed. And she explained that she believed it was detrimental. Okay, so and after that, I wrote them some letters. I called the lawyer. We had a conversation. He probably thought I was crazy because I did not. He tried to intimidate me and tell me that I knew nothing on copyright law and everything. And I did not let this guy intimidate me. I had a strong conversation with him. And in the end, he was like, and that in the end, it was almost like the next letters they wrote to me was almost like share the knowledge, and I felt like that was kind of a test to see if I was worthy of being the guardian of this information, because after that the letter was coded implied saying share the knowledge. um, and then I felt like, okay, because she left it aside, this information from the Inca was sent out to me, so I could be the guardian and then be the voice of it here in the United States. She did it in France, and then I was the relay to you guys here. So this is the incredible story that I have with fire letters. And so then when I started reading that, let me tell you, I was blown away, because it was my story in there that she wrote 10 years ago, before I even know that this stuff existed, right? So one day I was in my bathroom with Esteban, and he was playing with the switch of the light, and I was saying, Esteban, stop, Esteban, stop, stop. And I see like a rainbow in my bathroom. Like, sometimes you feel a presence come through a rainbow or a light. I don't know, do you notice those? And I'm like, these moments when I don't know, like in a movie, like in Matrix, where like in jumps, and all of a sudden you have the camera that turns all around him, it's a slow motion, something like that. Same thing. I'm in the bathroom, and I have this slow motion moment. What is happening? Like, I'm in an interdimensional portal or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Years later, or a year later, or whatever, I read this, and there is a scene in the book. So the hero of the book is a vampire called Esteban that is super strong and has superpowers, right? Am I gonna spoil it? Am I gonna tell you? Yeah, I'm gonna spoil it, because you're not gonna read it. It's in French anyways, and if you speak French, you're probably not gonna read it, because these are she doesn't sell them anymore. These are she removed all this stuff from the sales. Maybe not all of them, but the fire letters doesn't exist anymore. She suppressed she finished the sales of what she had, and she's not publishing it anymore. So all these are collector stuff. So then she falls in love with this vampire, and they go on some kind of adventures and stuff like that. And then he's older, right? He's older, they're maybe adults. And then he goes to visit his mom, and she describes that he goes to see his mom's in his house. And as she's describing, I can literally project myself in the future with Esteban visiting me with his girlfriend, and seeing the scene that she's describing in the movie right here at the house. And she describes a scene that he's talking. She describes a scene that he's letting her see his past, and she sees a scene where he's in a bathroom with his mother, and he's playing with the light, and she's like, stop, Esteban, stop, Esteban. And she's there. Ooh, I got goosebumps just talking about it. And she's there being a witness of the scene. And I read this, and I'm like, like, what in the world? And that happened to me before. I've talked about it before. It happened to me that one day I woke up, not related to that book, but I would wake up in the middle of the night, and all my body would be kind of paralyzed, and I hear this music, like I hear sometimes when I wake up in the morning inside my head, and it's like, okay, you're in between, you're time traveling, what the hell are you doing? And I'm there, and I hear people in the kitchen, and I hear people talking. I'm in the middle of a family conversation. They're arguing, right? So I'm projected to that scene. I'm in the kitchen. I see these two people arguing and talking together. And I'm there like, what the I doing here? Like that, I'm an intruder. I don't have anything to, what am I here, you know? And by the time I'm realizing, wait, I'm astral traveling, what, you know, I wake up. Because as soon as your mind becomes aware of it, it interrupts the, you know, your consciousness wants to put reason to it, and so it lowers your frequency, so therefore it brings your body, your astral body, back into your present body. So that happened, and years later in 2021, when I was in France, I rent this apartment, and I'm on top of the apartment, and there is a couple that has the apartment underneath it, and I remember being in the kitchen at night painting, and the window is open, and they're right underneath the window, and they're having a conversation, and they're arguing, and I'm like, what do we do? Like, if I close the window, they're gonna see that I'm here. If I'm, you know, when you're feeling like, I don't want to be like an intruder, like not minding, you know, I don't want to listen, but you know, this weird feeling. And then I remember the moment. I'm like, man, that's the moment I was traveling to, when I was having this dream, right? And that was now. So I know that's possible because I've experienced it. But then when you see it from someone else and in a book, you're like, that's crazy. There is definitely a link between us, and the knowledge is what links us. It's the continuation, the legacy through the generations. So wow, that's so powerful. Maybe we were in a dimension parallel to ours. Now we were by the lake. I didn't like lakes, mostly at night. The water did not inspire me, and I had heard a lot of crazy, terrifying stories about lakes, but Esteban says that we must cross. He said, okay, let's go around it. And he said, no, we can't. Look. But everything was dark around us. There was nowhere to go. We couldn't see. So this is when I think, this is when he starts walking. This is, yeah, the hand comes out of her eyes. She's trying to grab her. But then I think he's crossing the lake. He's walking on the lake, and he crosses the lake. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, he crosses the lake, but he's under the water, but he's breathing under the water. Yeah, then they're under the water, but he teaches her to breathe under the water, right? It's like everything is an illusion. So anyways, they have all these hypersensorial experiences. I know it's not really related in United Nations, but it's also like ancestral knowledge that is interesting. Well, anyways, and then they go to Egypt, and then there is this scene when they go to a shop, and there is this back door that leads to an underground tunnel, and the tunnel actually leads them to somewhere in France. And they realize that there is a tunnel between France and Florida that connects. There's literally said there is a tunnel between France and Florida, a tunnel that connects, and they can walk all night, and it leads to France. And all little stories like that. And he has these scientists after him that are trying to get him because they want to study his superpowers. I don't know if scientists do that, really. I don't know anything about that, but they want to study what, you know, the force that he's using to do these supernatural things. So in the end, they get him, and do I say it or not? Do I tell you the end? I don't know if I should or not. Well, if you don't want to spoil it, stop watching the video now. Thank you for watching. But so anyway, so after at the end, they catch him and they put him on the square and they crucify him, and then pretty much at the end you learn that she's kind of telling you the story, or there is an obvious Christic reference, right? So to Jesus. Because then, and she's like, you see how everybody's there. All see, it loops back to what I was saying at the beginning. Everybody's there, they're all hurting him, and they're crucifying him, and he says, that's fine, I'm ready, or whatever. And she's so full of hate because she's like, look at all these people, what they're doing to him, and people are all this bunch of sheep there, not interfering and letting it happen, right? And then I understood her position, how maybe you can be a Christian, you can love Jesus and not be a Christian, because you can believe in the teachings of Jesus but not caution that you needed to crucify him, or you needed to because they needed to have the proof, because they crucified him. But what was extraordinary is that he came back, right? He came back as the resurrection. This is what made the story all, but this is also the death and rebirth process. You die and then you resurrect. That's been derived from that. But anyways, that comes back to what I was saying of, you don't need to teach to grind or the passion of the Christ to love the Christic energy. That is actually what are the teachings, okay? Because this is just justifying a public crime over history, and this washing your hands, that was the story of Jesus. Thanks to hurting someone, we got the resurrection. No, you guys just made up a whole entire story just to this entire people would justify a public murder and glorify that. And I'm sorry, I understand the spiritual meaning of it, but I don't. We need to promote cohesion. We need to promote peace. We need to promote happiness and joy. Having fun is essential values of a happy life. The companies that have the best enterprise culture are the ones that offer team building trainings, free a lot of holidays and stuff. The employees, they come, they do stuff together. They create amazing things, because when they're at work, they're super efficient. Okay, just driving 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. That was what is her name? Miss Photos, right? From the social media team. I'm sorry. When I see your name, I will remember. But she was posting something the other day, and she was saying, you're not just showing up doesn't mean you're working. It's not because you show up that you're working. Work is what you're bringing, what value, the amount of work that you go there, what value are you bringing, and how does it make a difference in people's life, and how efficient you are as well. Okay, maybe you're going to work 2 hours a day, but you're more efficient in these 2 hours or in these 5 hours than you would be if you were there from 6 in the morning to 9 in the evening, and you're completely drained, and the day after you go back to work again and you're still drained from the day after and accumulate. Of course, you can do that. You're 30 years old or 40 years old or 50 years old. You have the energy. Even our president, 80 years old, is still doing this. Okay, you have it. But in the long run, out of an entire career, people are still allowed, to experience joy and have a beautiful life, and this is how you make a great world. Maybe less arguments and less judgment. If you're happy in your own life and you're joyful and you're abundant and you have lots of friends and healthy people, you're not going to argue. You're not going to judge others. You want the best for others. Okay, so the more you have, supposedly, the more you want to the best for others too. You become greedy or you become self-centered when you feel like you're lacking or not recognized, or you're stuck in a cycle that you're not getting out of. And mostly the isolations, when you don't have the, I'm tired of talking in front of the camera. I want to have these discussions with people right in front of me at a table that can just interact. This is great to connect, but it's time to use the internet to create our lives, not let it use us to suck our energies and attention from our lives. Of course, we need the internet nowadays. This is our best work tool. But let's not forget to go outside. This is what we're going to do today. As soon as this is loaded, I hang up. I'm going to go take my son out, walk in nature, maybe go to the beach or something. So thank you everybody for watching this 2 hours video. Hey, yo! Come say hi, babe. I'm done. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope to work with you soon, as always. I hope that you were interested by all of these topics. I know there was a lot, but there is a lot going on right now, and you see how everything connects. So yeah, looking forward to the next. Remember, today the global goal was life on land, and 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. At first I read and strong intuition, that too. And the last one is partnerships for the goals. So I guess that now that I'm at 15, I guess I will make 2 more videos about those themes, peace, justice, even though I find it difficult to focus on one goal per video, because everything is so connected that when you address one, you address all of the others. Partnerships for the goals. And as a matter of fact, the symbol for number 17 is a flower of life. So you see, we're getting back to the sacred geometry and biology, and even in politics. See, they're using those symbols for, because why? Because they're universal. Every culture in the world can interpret a symbol. Okay, the union, 2 circles coming together or not, present the union, the alliances. It's easy, even of a child, even if it doesn't understand at the beginning, but then they will absorb it and create their own culture. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Love you very much. Thanks for watching.